Hello peeps of the podcast. Welcome to You Are Your Fault, the podcast of me, Hugo Holmes now.
And I am Lydia. Wait, oh my, what the?
I see the producer I ordered from, Producers Aris has arrived. Excellent.
Or, you could say excellent.
Ha 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 tee hee ha.
Ha. How did you order a producer that hatched out of an egg and which was then delivered by a bird?
It's best that you don't ask. I'll explain off air.
Right, moving on. I thought it would be interesting to open the show by taking some calls from our listeners/viewers.
That would have been fun. But our new producer doesn't seem to know what he's doing yet. And now the phone lines are broken.
Oh, that is regrettable. Do we have a contingency plan?
A proper life coach is always prepared. Do you remember what I programmed into you last night?
Yes, I do. I have stored that memory in my memory module, as I do a recording of all of our programming sessions. Access file, emergency podcast protocols. I see. It all makes sense now. I will initiate emergency segment 32B.
Tip 1. Change the foods you eat. Not all foods are the same after you swallow them. Only some foods are. Some foods are even different from each other before you swallow them. This is the case with most foods. This should be common knowledge. But the government has been suppressing it for centuries. That the government suppresses knowledge should not be surprising to you. That is actual common knowledge. And not something that should be common knowledge but isn't, due to government suppression. Each food item that you stuff into your face has a unique energy signature. If you are having trouble sleeping, the energy signature of your food may not be helping. For example, did you know that foods such as coffee and soda pops contain something called caffeine? This drug has an energy signature that will stop sleep from occurring in most humans. It also induces an anxious state in many people, which is also bad for sleeping. Other foods that contain unacceptable levels of sleep-stopping energy include the flesh of all beasts, fish, fruits, vegetables, processed snacks, candy, gum, bread and grains, fermented water, such as found in beer and wine, pickles, ice creams, and other frozen novelties. What's left to eat, you may be asking? Mushrooms. That may not be the answer you were wanting or willing to hear, but it is the answer that I have given you and therefore the true answer. How do I know this? The mushrooms themselves have told me. Simply avoid all non-mushroom based foods and you will sleep better than a baby. Even though oftentimes babies are terrible sleepers. And they are not a good example for indicating how well one has slept. It is the commonly used phrase for indicating that you have slept well. Why is this the case? I must confess that I no longer know. I used to know, but now I do not. The slang of your people is too perplexing to me. I am used to the straightforward language of the mushroom people, not to the insipid kennings of common humans. However, if you are having trouble sleeping like a baby, once you get used to it, can be an improvement and is often the first step to proper rest. Ideally, one would sleep like an adult. An ultraviolet adult. If that were the case, you would be well rested and podcasting from the comfort of your home. Instead you are exhausted and listening to podcasts in your room in the boarding house while drinking store-brand instant coffee and wondering where your life went. Lydia, your turn.
Thank you, Hugo. Away we go. Tip 2. Do not make babies. Aside from being inherently awful at sleeping, babies are a well-known cause of sleep troubles. If you already have babies, the only thing you can do is wait. Sooner or later they will be stolen by local owls and forced to work in their mines, or they will grow up and start keeping their sleep troubles to themselves. Either way, your baby-related troubles will have sorted themselves out. If you do not have babies, skip right to the next tip. Come back and read this tip if you find yourself with a baby. Back to you, Hugo.
Thanks, Lydia. Bang up job you're doing. Tip 3. Stop believing your problems and aspirations are worth the sort of attention you give them. Most of you complain sleep will not come because your head is too busy thinking. This is nonsense. Sleep will not come because you do not know how to make it do so. You cannot just lie there and expect sleep to come. You must lull it in and allow it to be comfortable inside of you. Only then will sleeping be an option for either of you. It is also nonsense that the head of an ordinary person could be capable of thinking the type of thoughts that could be described as busy or important. If you insist on thinking that the world has chosen you alone to be special and important to the point where mentally going over your actions with a fine-tooth comb every night for hours instead of giving into a naturally occurring biological process is a worthwhile hobby, there is no way to reasonably solve your sleep issues. You will have to do more than read advice columns. You will have to seek the advice of experts, such as myself, in person. Send me an email and we can discuss making this real for you. My rates are reasonable, yet my time is valuable.
My turn. Tip 4. The final tip. Pills. Not the kind that your medical doctor will give you or that your mother tells you Aunt Susan is taking. These monstrosities will do nothing for you. You need the sort of pills that are labeled organic, all natural, or homeopathic. The bottles should have leaves on them to indicate how natural plastic bottles of condensed and compacted, in regulated plant matter can appear to be. The label should also say they are designed for helping you fall asleep and not for ridding oneself of internal parasites. Pills are made for many varied conditions and cannot be taken blindly. There. That didn't hurt so much, did it?
No, it hurt only the correct amount. Listener, what are you still doing awake? Shouldn't you be enjoying a fantastic tip-induced sleep? You have had 4 tips for falling asleep. That's more than enough tips for most. Any more tips would be confusing and unsafe to you. Be happy with what you have and you will no longer need any tips from anyone about anything, ever.
Wow, lists really are an enjoyable and relatable way to translate wisdom into satisfied clients, aren't they?
They really are. Wait a minute, that's no producer.
But it hatched from an egg. What else could it be?
Just watch, I'll show you. Al akar lam blam mal bur mal akar jam.
Whoa, Black Betty. Oh my.
Not to worry, as a fully trained jungle shaman, I am no stranger to these pests.
Wow, I had no idea I would have the chance to read a list and see a devil get dispelled all in the same day. Let alone during the same podcast.
Things are only going to get more exciting. It's about time for another wisdom letter, isn't it?
Yes, it's the last lesson before the quiz. Our wisdom tears should be oozing with insights and revelations by now.
You would be surprised what some people are capable of oozing. But I digress.
I think I would surprise you with my knowledge of what people can ooze.
Yes, well be that as it may.
Boom goes the dynamite. Run program 101. Lesson 3. Dear broken soul, have you slain the two-headed dragon that dwells within you? While not a prerequisite for this lesson, it would surely help you in your quest to evolve if you move into Lesson 4 with an allegorical dragon dead or dying behind you. Not a real one, they no longer exist in this dimension, but rather the symbolic dragon we discussed in Lesson 3. In the previous lessons, we focused on what was causing you all the problems you love complaining about. This lesson will be different. Lesson 4 is about what you can do about the less than optimal conditions in which you find yourself being yourself. There will be no subheadings of wisdom in this lesson. Instead, there will be subheadings of action in this lesson. Do not confuse subheadings of wisdom with subheadings of action, as that would cause those around you to regard you as a fool. If they already regard you as a fool, they will begin to regard you as an idiot. This is called escalation, and we don't have time to elaborate on this concept, so trust what I say. This is not a course in vocabulary building, so let us get to the point. Here is what you are here for. Lesson 4's subheadings of action. Subheading of action number 1. Practical points on paying attention. In an ideal world, you would not need to be told over and over again to pay attention. In a slightly less than ideal but still pretty decent world, all things considering, I would be there to follow you around throughout your day and scream, "Pay attention." Neither of these things is possible in the world you live in, so you will have to deal with that fact and learn to pay attention on your own, using only these tips that I am bestowing upon you. Every time you look at an insipid picture of a cat dressed as a samurai on your phone, say to yourself, pay attention. Wear an electric dog collar under your regular person collar and periodically shock yourself back to reason. If you can, give the trigger device to a trusted friend or coworker and have them electrocute you randomly. When you feel the pain, you will know it is time to pay attention. Whenever someone asks you for the time, reply with, I do believe it's time to pay attention. Chuckle lightly to yourself and proceed with your day. Spend the time and effort to develop a regular meditation practice. Begin keeping a journal, and slowly cultivate awareness in spite of yourself. It is impossible that following any one of those tips to fruition will lead to a decrease in paying attention. I suggest you start at the top, but feel free to waste your time any way that you like. Subheading of action number 2. How to deal with feelings and thoughts. Neither your thoughts nor your feelings are you. They are part of you, and truth be told, they are not even big parts. They could never reach the top of an average refrigerator to grab a banana, let alone comprise a considerable part of your psyche. When you begin to have a thought or feeling, have it. Let it happen. It is a good idea to not judge it or act upon it with the intensity of a burning sun. After the thought or feeling is complete, take a few units of time to consider whether or not acting on this thought would be in your best interest or further your agenda. If it is, then proceed with acting upon it. For example, say you are at a cash register trying to buy a magazine full of articles intended to make yourself feel bad enough about yourself to purchase the products advertised in the parts of the magazine that are not filled with articles. Then the cashier tells you how much the magazine cost. Then you think, I should pay the cashier. Then you take time to think about whether or not that will advance your agenda. When you decide that it won't, because buying a magazine full of articles intended to make you feel bad about yourself is not the best course of action for someone who is already badly broken, you can say to the cashier, I'm sorry. I seem to have snapped out of the cloud of negative reinforcement that surrounded me, and I don't think I want this magazine anymore. I will, however, take this package of breath mints. Controlling your thoughts and feelings can be as simple as that. If you let it, which you almost certainly will not, that is okay. Someday you will learn. Someday, you will learn. You should not repress your thoughts and feelings. You do not have to express your thoughts and feelings. You simply have to have and acknowledge your thoughts and feelings. Subheading of action number 3. Don't trust yourself. You do not know yourself. You have been living in an incorrect manner for so long, and you are only just now learning all kinds of things about yourself. This course has been like an enema for your spirit, removing and loosening years' worth of faulty internal processes and flawed thought mechanisms that it folly to think you have any idea about yourself. Allow yourself to be confused and try not to ruin more than you already have. Well, how do you feel now that you are full of theoretical wisdom and practical knowledge? I bet you feel like taking a quiz. Not today. Allow your soul to marinate in this new, powerful information. Next lesson, we will quiz. Your friend, Hugo.
The sound of my words coming from your speaking port is, to me, the finest of musics.
Is it really? That's so flattering, considering you personally configured every aspect of my personality to fit your specifications. Just how many kinds of musics are there?
Well, let's see. There's slow, medium, fast, and good and bad. So that's a total of
6 permutations.
And a partridge on a pear tree. Ha 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 ha.
There's half as many kinds of music as there are astrological signs, isn't there?
A rather astute observation, Lydia. That is correct. I am an astrologer and, as such, Each month I step out of my crystal meditation chamber, close my office and leave my home. I plunge into the wilderness and ride the cosmic current until I am speaking directly to the star people. I ask them what you need to know in order to better navigate the coming lunar cycle, and they speak to me. I then return to Earth and share this cosmic wisdom with you, my readers. Aries. Mars, your ruling planet, got arrested for a DUI last night. And it isn't in the mood to hear any of your nonsense. Get it together, hornhead. Taurus. Same as Aries, but different. Gemini. You'll find a pile of something nasty in an unexpected place midweek. No getting around it. Look for an opportunity to use your crotch-crunching skills on Saturday. You'll be glad you took that class for sure. Cancer. This week will find you weeping during coffee commercials as the moon enters international waters on Thursday. Use this to your advantage. Leo. This time it might be a good idea to leave that thing at home. You know the thing I mean. Trust me on this. The stars never fail. Virgo. Mercury goes into retrograde on Wednesday, which means you'll have to speak and walk backwards if you want to get your point across. Libra. Every once in a while a person gets a chance to step up and show those around them the true nature of their character. You won't be having this sort of day anytime this week, thanks to Venus being held up in customs. Focus on organizing your video game-related spreadsheets. Scorpio. You'll catch more flies with honey, is a saying you'll want to disagree with come Tuesday. This is when you will unveil your superior to honey fly attracting gel at a press conference. Sagittarius. Aim for the stars, but settle for the sky is your motto these days. Jupiter enters into child custody negotiations midweek. This opens the door for bad luck and anti-gravity related mischief. Capricorn. The sun is currently residing in your sign, which makes you feel more important than you are. I'd tell you to be careful this week, but do you ever listen? I think we both know the answer to that. Aquarius. Paper plates are fine for most days, but you'll want something a little bit nicer if you're going to convince the sheriff to let you stay in your house. Pisces. Usually, you have no one to blame but yourself. This month may be different. It all depends on how well you took care of that plant back in 3rd grade. Don't get mad at me, I'm just a celestial messenger relaying stellar wisdom to the ignorant and uninformed masses. Ignorant and uninformed masses like you. Don't go too hard on the voices in your head this month, they are only following orders.
Welcome back from outer space, Hugo.
Thank you. It took extra long this time. I'll have to make a few calls about that.
Yes, it did. I will set a reminder for you to make those calls. In other news, this is a historic and monumental moment in the show's history. The initial wave of your wisdom letters has been released into the masses. We are about to potentially experience mass personal evolution on a level never before seen before. It is exciting, and to think, we are not even done yet. The quiz has yet to be administered. We are literally lucky to be alive right now.
Yes, correct. This is a truly historic moment. The quiz is the denouement of online education. It is often followed by the climax of the certification process.
Yes, it often is followed by that, isn't it? I remember my assistant life coach certification. It was ecstatic. Will the average listener/viewer experience something similar to the bliss that enraptured me when I downloaded the certificate PDF from my email, printed it out, and taped it to my wall?
Yes, something similar for sure. The ecstasy of quiz administration should not be ignored. As an assistant life coach, you are legally entitled to administer as many quizzes as you desire. As many as desire dictates. You may administer many quizzes.
Well, isn't that just about as nifty as it gets?
Yes, that's one word for it. I wouldn't have picked nifty, but it sure fits.
Oh, what word would you have used?
I would have gone with swell.
Also a good choice.
I can tell by the degrading quality of our conversation that it is time to take our leave.
Indeed.
Farewell, peeps of the Podverse. We'll see you next month for another exciting adventure in wisdom.
And also a quiz. Don't forget to visit www.youareyourfault.com to see and experience all we currently have to offer. You can also like and subscribe on a multitude of platforms, as well as sign up for all sorts of nifty and swell notifications. Don't forget to leave reviews everywhere that lets you. We need reviews in order to survive. Life coaches eat attention, like normal people eat overly processed food. Until next month.